we have like, okay, let's pick 2 days. And so I go through every single verse. I say, well, what can I say anything on this verse? Anything on that verse? And so today is Disappearance Day of Madhvacharya. And I was like, oh, yes, I have that book. And then tomorrow's Ramanujacharya. Oh, that's a good one. And so, okay, I feel comfortable saying maybe a little something on these two. But thank you all very much for being here. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 16. This is a chapter of Krishna and Kaliya, text number 26. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So again, 10th canto, chapter 16, text number 26. Evam paribrahma hatau sajam unnatasham. I think it's Brahma Samhita meter, maybe. Evam paribrahma hataso jasam unnatasam anamyatat pritu shira shvadirudya adyaha tanmurdya ratna nikara sparshati tamra padam bujo kila kalat guru nanartha. Translation. Having severely depleted the serpent's strength with his relentless circling, Krishna, the origin of everything, pushed down Kaliya's raised shoulders and mounted his broad serpentine heads. Thus, Lord Sri Krishna, the original master of all fine arts, began to dance. His lotus feet deeply reddened by the touch of the numerous jewels upon the serpent's heads. Is anybody in the classes lately, has there been any indication about what are they speaking here about his shoulders? His broad shoulders. Does anybody have any clue to that mystery? I know it says later on that he has hands. So is he a snake with many hoods? Is he a dragon, or does he just pull out those hands when at the end when he offers prayers to Krishna? So, but you see, it's
well, see, Krishna Daya is not here. He would answer that. But
okay, yes,
Chandra. I'm very curious.
And I remember, hearing the Kaliya pastime so many times. Imagine T-Rex arms, someone said. Yeah, I was reading Kaliya's pastimes so many times, and then one day I was surprised to find out how I wasn't surprised earlier, that it said hands. I was like, oh my God. It says he folded his hands. And I was like, wait, what? He folded his hands. The snake folded his hands. And I know his wives have this kind of mermaid appearance. But yeah, so Kaliya. Here it says shoulders. And then after that it says mounted his broad serpentine heads. So maybe we'll find somebody who can reveal this mystery. Purport. Sri Harivangsha states, Shira Sakrishno Jagaha Swahastena Namya. Krishna grabbed Kaliya's head with his hand and forced it to bow down. Most people in this world are quite reluctant to bow down to the Supreme Person, the absolute truth, in the contaminated state called material consciousness. We are conditioned souls. We conditioned souls become proud of our insignificant position, and are thus reluctant to bow our heads before the Lord. Yet, just as Lord Krishna forcibly pushed Kaliya's heads down and thus defeated him, the Supreme Lord's energy in the form of irresistible time kills all the conditioned souls and thus forces them to bow down their arrogant heads. We should therefore give up the artificial position of material life and become faithful servants of the Supreme Lord, enthusiastically bowing down at his lotus feet. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Lord Krishna's lotus feet became red like copper because of their contact with numerous hard jewels upon the heads of Kaliya. Lord Krishna, with those glowing reddish feet, then began to demonstrate his artistic skills by dancing on the unsteady, moving surface of his serpent's hoods. This extraordinary demonstration of dancing skill was meant for the pleasure of the young women of Vrindavan, who, at this phase in their relationship with Krishna, were seriously falling in love with him. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadambayam Dadati Swapadantikam Katachana Smite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. Okay, once again, translation. Having severely depleted the serpent's strength with his relentless circling, Sri Krishna, the origin of everything, pushed down Kaliya's raised shoulders and mounted his broad serpentine heads. Thus, Lord Sri Krishna, the original master of all fine arts, began to dance, his lotus feet deeply reddened by the touch of the numerous jewels upon the serpent's heads. So this is the mentality that we may have, hoping that Krishna is everything, and we're thinking that everything is going around us. The world is revolving around us. But we see in this position, Kaliya was his strength, his enthusiasm, all of that was severely depleted. So one cannot stay long in that position without being completely crushed by the going against their actual nature. Is that they are not, the world doesn't go around. Krishna is not going around you. This is temporary. Krishna was going around him, but it was extremely exhausting. Actually, we are all servants of the Supreme Lord. So in the temple, we have the arti ceremony. And so the arti ceremony, we have different elements that are there. What are some of the elements? What are the different items? Incense, flour, yeah. Water. And so if you remember in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhumir apona lova yu kamanabhudarevacha ahankara itiyame bina prakritir ashtada. These 8 elements, 8 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then you have this 3 subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and ahankar, false ego. All these are part of our morning program. So earth, what is the symbol of the earth? Punyagandam prithivim cha. Does anybody know? What is the symbol? What is the
is it fragrance?
Fragrance, yeah. So the incense, like you have with fire, with you have with light, you have vision. With air, you can feel touch. You can't see it, but you can feel touch. And so with earth, the symbol is this fragrance. That's a sensory perception that is related to the element. You have with water, you have taste. With ether, you have sound. I know with the sound in ether. He says pranava. What is this? Sound in ether. That's another verse, I think, in chapter 7. One may ask, I had this question, if sound doesn't travel in a vacuum and ether is a vacuum, then what is this sound? And so the acharyas explain that sound comes in 4 stages. And one of them is called vikari. Let's see if I can't remember all the 4 names, but the original sound comes from the very deep subconscious. It comes from the root chakra. The 4th stage of sound, it comes out of the throat. And so as you're hearing the thoughts in your head, that is sound. So that can happen, that can travel through space. It doesn't need the oxygen elements to vibrate. This is a very subtle form of sound. So you have fragrance is there, the earth is there, then water is there in the arti, fire is there in the arti, earth, water, fire, air, the fan is there, ether, the flower is a symbol of ether. So you have your 5 elements, 5 gross elements. And then the mind is engaged because there's music, and music is related to the emotional aspect, the mind. And then you have your Bhagavatam study, you're engaging the intelligence. And then what do you do when you first walk into the temple? Bow down. So you're engaging the hankar. This is like what we say, the most important yoga pose. You get down and bow down. What is that? Shashtanga Dandasana. There's Shashtanga, and what is the other one? Navanga Dandasana. So, or the 6 parts of the body are bowing down, or the 9 parts of the body are bowing down. Dandasana. What did Brahmananda, we hear Brahmananda in New York, he asked Srila Prabhupada, but what if I don't feel like bowing down? If I don't feel like bowing down, should I, wouldn't it be maybe artificial? Should I come to the temple and bow down if I don't really feel like it? What did he say?
Didn't he say that's when you need to bow down the most?
It's similar. He said, bow down and then you will feel like it. Then you will feel like it. And here you see Krishna is dancing. So I think that rule of engaging yourself in Krishna's service in various ways, in a way that actually affects your consciousness, it applies here. So as well, that even the service of dancing for Krishna. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanat Goswami, he says dancing for Krishna in the beginning is done as a matter of duty, sadhana. So you say, I don't feel like dancing. Then dance for Krishna, and then you'll feel like it. This is it's part of the sadhana, part of the duty. And then everyone, we sometimes, as we read in there's a book called Renunciation Through Wisdom, book by Srila Prabhupada. He had written it in Bengali, and it's a little different tone. Prabhupada wrote it reaching out to the Bengali intellectuals, and so it's very deep and philosophical. It's not. He wasn't in the mindset of reaching out to the Americans that are just learning about this. He was reaching out to the intellectuals of Bengal. And so in that book, he talks about, one section, he talks about how we got to move from the mode of ignorance to the mode of passion. And then we got to move from the mode of passion to the mode of goodness. So sometimes we're in Tamagun, not sometimes. We have one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he told Prabhupada, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. I was in Maya at the time. And Prabhupada said, at the time, you're always in Maya. Sometimes we may have a little bit of Krishna consciousness, but generally we're under these the headlock of Maya. And so I see Bhima Prabhu, welcome. So in this way, we're being covered over. And so to engage ourselves in this way, to dance, then it helps us to get out of tamagun, a little bit, move our body. It raises us to passion. Even if we're not fully Krishna conscious, it gets us out of our kind of dull state, a little bit of passion. And then hopefully we can bring our consciousness there, become a little sattva, become mindful. So let's see. So Krishna was circling around Kaliya, and Kaliya was having a great dizzying effect. We read here that acharyas explain that sometimes a dancer will dance on something very unstable, like plates. That's I think it was Vishnu Chakravarti talks about this point in his commentary. So the dancers, they'll dance on like dishes or something very unstable, just to show their expertise. For me, it also makes me think of like all the great martial arts films. Like there was one series called Ip Man, and he's going against another guy, and he's dancing on a table. Not dancing, he's fighting on a table. So, but it is like a dance, and they're showing off their great artistic skills. And there's no music going on. So Krishna's actually, he is saying like this. Sometimes you hear the Mayapuris, they do the Mridanga presentation, and they start chanting these like rhythm mantras. And so he is also doing this. He's doing all these rhythm mantras, and he is impressing. He's connecting with the young ladies. Actually, he's connecting with everyone that's there. We see that the young ladies are being falling in love with him. The elderly family, they're being greatly relieved. I imagine your child, you come and you see your child wrapped up in the coils of a monster. I said that he was there for at least 2 hours wrapped up. How devastating that would be. And so now there is this relief that is coming. The cowherd boys, Krishna also wants to show his military style strength, his martial strength, his ability to fight. He displays that for the young cowherd boys, and so everyone is being reciprocated with. So today is actually the disappearance day of Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya is each of the 4 sampradayas has their own single great acharya, the person who firmly established the siddhanta, or the philosophical conclusion of the school. So you have Vishnu Swami, you have Nimbarka, you have Ramanuja, and we have Madhvacharya. What are the 4 sampradayas? You have the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, that is Ramanuja at his head. We have the Brahma, this is Brahma Sampradaya, with Madhvacharya at the head. You have and the Rudra Sampradaya, I think that is Vishnu Swami. And then you have the Kumara Sampradaya, that is Nimbarka. Each of these schools have their teachers that are their heads. And so you have within about 2,500 years of history, you can take this little formula, 2,600 years ago, you had the Buddha appear. And Srila Prabhupada describes in one purport how these different personalities are appearing and they're apparently teaching something different. Buddha came and he totally rejected all Vedic literature. So apparently he's teaching something different. Then Shankaracharya came. So Buddha came 2,600 years ago. Then Shankaracharya came in the 700 AD. And he taught something completely different from the Buddha and completely different from the Vaishnava conclusion. Then Madhvacharya, he comes in the 13th century, comes like a 1268, he appears. And each of these teachers are apparently teaching different things, but are actually paving the way for humanity. So the time of the Buddha, people were killing animals in the name of religion. They're, used on the plea of some Vedic sacrifice. They're creating so many different slaughterhouses, so many, massively killing animals. And Buddha came not to reform, because it was beyond reform. Just to, let's take a fresh start. And imagine you're going on a 2-month vacation to Vrindavan. Woohoo! 2-month vacation, Vrindavan. You're going to go there during Kartik, and you're going to stay even a little longer. And maybe you're going to go to, some of the Umayapur, or maybe go to South India as well, in Tirupati. Or if you're really lucky, you can go to Jagannath Puri and enjoy the prasadam there, and all the different places of Lord Chaitanya. So you may not want to be spending money on your electricity bill while you're 2 months in Vrindavan. So you unplug your refrigerator. And so you unplug your refrigerator, you turn off everything in the house. But there's this little part of the refrigerator. It's a section called Where Good Intentions Go to Die. It's where you put all your nice vegetables that sometimes you don't eat. But somehow there was a cabbage on the way in the back. You didn't notice it. And so you pull out the crisper, this section that, where you put hopefully the nice fresh vegetables that you hopefully use before they go bad. And you find this cabbage that's been sitting in this hot fridge for 2 months. So you can't just stick your hand in that cabbage and pull it out. You really have to go and take everything out of take all the shelves and just clean that whole fridge. You need to start a fresh start. So that's Buddha. He came in and he said, forget these Vedas, forget these Upanishads, forget these Puranas. Just be a good person. Ahimsa, practice nonviolence. And so whether people became Buddhist or not, the entire effect of Buddha's appearance in India, Buddhism started in India, was that everybody started to practice again ahimsa, nonviolence, in all different traditions. You had that, and even also in the Jain tradition as well, had that effect. So people became practicing ahimsa, not vegetarianism. And then came Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya came after the Buddha, not directly after the Buddha, but some many years after the Buddha. And he was, at some point someone is holding the intellectual flag. It doesn't mean that everyone in that society is feeling and thinking that same way, but there is somebody holding the intellectual flag, the authority. For example, if you were to interview everyone in America, you'll find that many people have a theistic view. They believe in God. But if you see who is speaking in the form of holding the authority of intellectualism, will be the non-theistic, atheistic presentations, that there is no God, and everything came from nothing. So that's the one who's holding the flag doesn't always represent what is the common sentiment. So Shankaracharya, he came after the Buddha, and he, just as Buddhism spread through debate in India, it also fled with debate. And so Shankaracharya brought in something a little higher, something that conquered the debate of voidism. You have this shunyata, voidism, zeroness, nothingness, emptiness. And so he brought it from 0 to 1. A very simple way to remember what is the difference between the shunyata, the voidist philosophy of Buddhism, and the Advaitist philosophy, the oneness philosophy of Shankaracharya. Is that the Buddhist and the Advaitin go to the pizza shop? What do they order? The Buddhist says, "Make me one with nothing." And the Advaita say, "Make me one with everything." And so Madhvacharya, he brought it to that. Shankaracharya brought it to oneness, so 0, 1, and then Madhvacharya, he was a strict dualist. He took the challenge to challenge impersonalism, both the voidist, the shunyata, and the nirvishesha, the non-dualists. They both have this impersonal presentation. And so Madhvacharya came. Actually, all the demigods came to Lord Vishnu, headed by Brahma. Brahma was feeling very sad that his lineage wasn't properly represented, that things were becoming corrupted, and even there was everyone feared to even speak anything about Vaishnavism, anything about personalism, because the strength, the intellectual strength, the debate strength of the impersonalists was so strong. And so that he went to Lord Vishnu and he prayed, and he went there with all the demigods. And Lord Vishnu, he looked and he said, "Well, my appearance will not be yet, but he said, I see my dear devotee Vayu is there. He can come and present this personalism." And so Vayu, who previously appeared as, who did he appear as?
Hanuman.
Hanuman, and who's another strong fellow?
Bhima Prabhu is a strong fellow.
Yes, Bhim. Yes. And so before he was born, his dad was Magya Geha Bhat, and he was a great devotee. And so before he was born, there was a man at a big festival, and they thought he was crazy or something. It's like something came over him. So this man, he got up on top of this very large pole, and he yelled out a proclamation that the devotee of the Lord will appear very soon, and he will smash with his great intellectual strength and his devotional fervor. He will smash all philosophies against the concept of love and devotion and present pure personalism. And so then, so this Magya Geha, later on, his wife, she was pregnant, and then she gave birth to this very, very beautiful boy. It's said that he was like similar. His youth and childhood and his babyhood was similar to Krishna. It was so attractive. Like it was as if he had all 6 opulences. And he was fearless. Like when he was 3 years old, he would just wander, and he would go to temples far away. They had a big festival. This is his name was Vasudeva when he was young. And so when he was young, they went to visit his mother's family, and they had a big festival, and the boy wandered off, and he ended up miles and miles away at another temple. And they had to stop the festival. Everybody was in great anxiety. Where's the child? Where is the child? And they ended up finding him late at night. And they said, "How did you go through here?" They said, "You had to go through the forest." He said, "No." He said, Ananteshwar, the deity, actually held my hand and walked me here. And so it was described that he was so dear that even the deities would come in various forms and like escort him. And then later on, when he was 4 years old, he was sitting there was some famous speaker giving Bhagavatam, and he spoke up. He said, "You're speculating. You're not speaking in actually properly representing Vyasadeva and Sukadev Goswami. You're inserting your own ideas, and that's not how the Leela goes." And he was 4 years old. Everyone was shocked, and they said, well, then tell us." And then the 4-year-old started speaking, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great." So let's see. There's some other, I wrote down little things here. When he was born, they saw some scare. He went to some place, and there was a scary ghost, Brahma Rakshasha. And he said, "I could kill all of you, but all I want is for you to place the baby's feet on my head, and I will be free from this." And so, like Bhima was known as Vrikodar, wolf belly. He had an intense appetite. So Madhvacharya, not only grew up to be extremely strong, but he also had this super intense appetite. So before he had his grain ceremony, his mother left the house for just a short moment. He left him under the care of his older sister. And the little baby was crying that he's hungry. And so the sister went to go find the mother, saying, "He's hungry." And she used to feed him every hour. And there was a bag of grains, a 40-kilo bag of grains, which is, what is that, like 30-pound bag of grains. And he ate the whole bag. And he said, this was too much for even like a young bull to eat. And so while the sister was gone, he ate that whole bag. And so the parents were really worried. They took him to a doctor, and they said, "Oh, he is fine. He's fine." Then the parents, they had some debt with somebody. They had some debt. There's 3 things that it said you should take care immediately. Don't let it stick around. Fire, debt, and disease. Take care of these things. Don't let it linger. And so this man, he kept on sitting and waiting in front of the family's door for many hours, or he would come back and again. And so the boy Vasudeva, he said, "I will pay for you. I will pay it. I will pay." And he grabbed the man by the finger, and he was just like 3 or 4 at this time. And he took him to his favorite tamarind tree, and there's tamarind seeds on the ground. And he picked up the tamarind seeds, and he poured it into the man's palm. And the man was just happily obliging the boy, just humoring the little child. And then he looked a little, after a moment, he looked and he saw that it was actually full. Those seeds actually turned into gold. And he was, wow. And then later on, he had some kind of debt. They had, because I guess he was maybe a merchant, and so the family had they owed some money, and so he went back again, looking for the boy. Oh, maybe he'll give me gold again. But this time he gave a different seed. He gave the Bhakti Lata Beach, the seed of devotion. And so let's see. They had so he had his Vidyarambha ceremony a little early. That was like a educational ceremony. And it says when he was learning, it was as if he was pretending to learn, like he already knew everything. He never needed repetition. He would actually complain, why do I have to do this again and again? I've already learned this. They would actually educate him in private because they were afraid that people would become envious because he was so highly intelligent that maybe somebody would bribe some tantric yogi to place a curse on him. So they would educate him in private. Usually they have, so after a child becomes educated up until the age of 8, then they become qualified to be granted a Brahmin thread and start serious education as like a brahmachari. But they did this for Madhvacharya when he was 5 years old. He was so also he killed a giant snake that attacked him with his toe. That's another famous story. It said that he could also leap into the air like Hanuman and travel great distances. And that there's even remaining impressions of his footmarks from these giant leaps. And so he became a brahmachari, and the teacher started to call him Anuman, not Hanuman, but Anuman Tirtha. Some of you, Gora Sharan, he's there. Gora Sharan. What is Anuman? Can you tell us, Anuman? What is Anuman? Anuman.
This hypothesis.
Hypothesis, yes. So he was so sharp that he could give all the hypotheses. Yes. And let's see. Then when he was he kept on leaving home and spending time with a sannyasi, Achyuta Preksha, when he was very young. This sannyasi was said to be in his past life a bumblebee in the palace of the Pandavas, and would sometimes take prasad right from Draupadi's hand. And so, let's see what I just wrote some notes here. And he had learned from his guru about personalism, and this sannyasi was wondering who was going to actually. Most of the Vaishnavas on these were living in these like great sannyasis. They weren't going out and educating. They were just engaged in their own sadhana, and they're quite afraid of the powerful impersonalism. This was going on for 400 years, where the Vaishnavas did not take a strong role of education. And as Guru said, I want that that my death wish is that this personalism be taught. And so he was wondering how he would fulfill his guru's wish, and then that son, that child would come, and that child was Madhvacharya. And so when he was 10 or around 11 years old, he took a serious turn that he wanted to become a sannyasi. At 10, around age 10 or 11. And his parents were devastated. They said, we had 2 children die. It's the child's duty is to protect the family, to care for the parents. And he said, I will not take sannyas until there's someone there to protect you. And he was basically predicting that his mother would soon be carrying another child. And so as soon as that child was born, this boy, Vasudev, Anuman Tirtha, he left and took sannyas. And then he became later known as, what is the name? He was Ananda Tirtha. Ananda Tirtha? That's another name also. Does anybody remember? And so yeah, he would debate as a young child. He would, as a 10-year-old, or even as an 8-year-old, he would debate great scholars. And there was one scholar that had his previous name, Vasudev Pandit. They debated for 3 days, and actually not 3 days. The scholar spoke for 3 days straight, presenting all these arguments. And then the child went back and dismantled every single argument of that was spoken in those 3 days. And they said, how do you recite books that you have never even read? How do you repeat from memory books that you haven't even had a chance to read? And he said, I've had in my past life, I've read this. This is Madhvacharya. So this is some of his youthful pastimes. Maybe we can share a little bit tomorrow. We're just coming at the end here. So just want to ask if there are any questions or comments.
Sorry, I just have a point of clarification. I really like the story of and Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, thank you so much for the class. I really would love to write down the story that you told where he paid a man his family owed money to by giving him, what was the fruit that?
Tamarind. Tamarind
Seeds.
Yes.
And then they turned into gold.
Yes,
which
yes.
enticed the man to come back. But then the second time he gave him bhakti.
The seed of devotion, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Bhima has his hand up.
His mighty hand.
Yeah. Haribol Prabhu, wonderful stories and anecdotes. So there is the pizza with nothing to make with nothing on it, make nothing on it, and one make me one with everything. So in Dvaita or Vaishnav pizza joint comes into the pizza joint, what does he ask for?
Make me one for Krishna. No, I don't know. There's no oneness. I guess we don't want to be made one. And we recognize Krishna's oneness. He's within everything. But we don't want to be made one. We want to stay two.
So it would be Krishna walking in and saying, hold on, let me ask Radharani what she wants.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the order. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you.
I've heard like Stephen Colbert try to tell this joke to the Dalai Lama, but he
he messed it up.
Yeah, he said to make me one with everything to the Dalai Lama, and he just kind of he just didn't. Dalai Lama just kind of like went like they didn't understand.
Keep those jokes for Thursday.
Okay,
we're gonna need them. Haribol.
All right.
Temple room? Anything in the temple room?
Well, that was very interesting about how all the different elements in the arti represent the different elements of creation. The fire, the water, the cloth is like from the plant kingdom. And then one of our Native American medicine men, he mentioned exactly like that. He said, and I never thought of it like that, that you're offering everything to everything to the Great Spirit, because these are the things that he's given us and we're offering them back. And he mentioned the different elements. And then he said, and the peacock feather is from the bird people, and the yak tail is from the four-legged, and the conch shell is from the from the aquatic, and the yeah.
That's cool.
I never actually thought of it like that, but then he's explaining this is very appropriate, that everything Krishna is giving us, we can offer to Krishna. He's so wonderful, and we're so grateful.
Nice. That's really cool.
The guitar is from the guitar people, right? Okay.
Krishna's so wonderful. He's sending these great acharyas and saintly people, and doing this wonderful pastime, exhibiting his. I love the way you explaining how he was enchanting the gopis, and he was impressing the cowherd boys with his powerful skill and his artistic dancing. You know, try dancing on a moving platform. It's not easy. Plus, he was doing it very rhythmically and very gracefully, and simultaneously chastising the Kali serpent. The fantastic image of Krishna, effortlessly and beautifully doing this dance. How wonderful is Krishna?
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you. Adipusha Prabhu, is darshan about to happen?
Yeah, right now, at this exact moment. Here comes the punch.
Okay, it's darshan time. Turn your cameras on if you can. Krishna will see you. He sees you already. Kula Pradeepa will blow the conch, I hope. Is it Kula Pradeep?
Not today.
He would be better than me.
Hare Krishna. Look at the tilak on Lord Nrsingadev's. Yeah. Govinda Hari Purusha Govinda Hari Purusha
Okay. Adipusha Prabhu bowed us down. Thank you very much. Dear devotees, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, great class. It's always very inspiring to hear about our acharyas. I was thinking, look at our sampradaya. We have Madhvacharya, we have Srila Prabhupada in our sampradaya. And we're all in that sampradaya too. Our spiritual masters are there. We're there also. So let's not put the sampradaya
I forgot
to shame.
I was going to bring in out tomorrow his 100 refutations of Mayavad philosophy. Mayavada Shatadushani, or it's also called Sri Tattvavali, the pearl necklace of truths. One of his books.
Refutations, yeah. I look forward to hearing the refutations of voidism. All right. Any reflections, any contributions, any questions? This is the afterglow. Adam G, welcome to our class. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you. Hare Krishna. Okay. We have another driver on the call. And Bruce Prabhu is normally the one driving. So now we have Adam. Okay. All right. I see none. So we'll see you again tomorrow. Andrea, thank you for your smile. William Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Adam G, Amrita Kishori, Didi, Amish Prabhu, Bhima Prabhu, the Vrikodar. Do you have the appetite of Bhima? Are you living up to your name, Bhima Prabhu?
Appetite for all material things. Everything this world has to offer, I will consume.
Thank you. Bhima Prabhu is speaking in his humility. Yeah. Bruce Prabhu, Yogeshwari, Suzanne, Dana Krishna's Radharani, Benicia, Angel, Dana Kelly Prabhu. Thank you very much. We'll see you again tomorrow, day 2 of the retreat with Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.